Do you think that's loud? Can I try one, or did I gonna mess it up?
I got a good clap.
Yeah. The echo.
I figured
a good
it out.
echo.
I figured out the clap thing. I always clap in the classes.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like trying to clap as loud as I can. And it's just piercing.
Especially when it's the echo. I think that's what's really making it pop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be clapping and kids is like, they're going through the ladder drills. I'm clapping.
That's what's crazy. Which I don't really do it at the home. I don't do it at the studio for some reason. I just decide this is what the volume's going to be. But like teaching on the weekends, I'll ask the kids, do you want it louder or quieter? And it's always way quieter than you think it should be.
That they want it?
Yes.
The music?
Yes. Like it is like almost annoyingly low.
For little kids?
Yeah. I'm like, guys, I can't even hear this.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's perfect.
Isn't
I'm like, well, your sharp and crisp eardrums, they're working at a different level. I'm like, hey, whatever.
Which is one of those things, like, again, I don't know, like, we think we know sort of thing, especially with little kids like that, where it's like, no, they do so much better when it's calmer, quieter, less crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, it's like when we were talking last night and the stove was popping and sizzling. The TV was on and there was something else playing. Oh, and because we were talking. And I was like, there's too many sounds.
Yeah.
Like I get so pissy quickly because I'm like, there's too much to focus on and I don't know what. Like I need to just zone in. So imagine for a kid, it's like when you're in a concert and the music is just so drowningly loud that it's like hard to even process what's going on. It's like if that's just them trying to learn.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way. When there's a lot of things going on, I can't. It's just harder to focus and to be whatever. So then when you take it to classes and kids, especially young ones, where it's like they don't have the skill to like block something out and listen to. That's why you get half the class listening to you and half the class is still listening to the music.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to stop.
They don't have an objective of we need to learn. It's just, I'm just here and you're the controller of it.
Yeah.
So like if you can get me to pay attention, that's on you.
Yeah.
But like if I get drawn up in the music, that's just where I'm going to think.
Yep. This is what it is.
Like there's no goal in like, well, I should, separate this so that I can learn. Or just whatever takes over me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm flowing with.
They're free birds. What do you think out of the 3 shows is the favorite that you were watching?
And you're saying
Big
Silo?
swallow into the mic before.
Sorry. And you're saying Silo, Shrinking, and the Sister Murder Show?
Mm-hmm.
The Shrinking is for sure number 1. I'll tell you why. It's the same way that I liked and why I think most people liked Ted Lasso. It's just easy and light and fun. It's very even how they shoot it, and maybe this is I'm just looking into it too much, and maybe it's shot in California, literally in Pasadena. I don't know. Maybe I have some.
No, there's no bias.
I like it because of my bias of that, but they always like shoot it. Most of the time, it's like shot during daytime scenes, and everything is just very basic coloring. Like there's not a lot of drama, doom and gloom, to where the other 2 shows, like even just the cinematic visuals are darker. So it's like not as easy breezy.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like that's probably common with shows, that sort of thing. Like if it's a light-hearted, whatever kind of show, it's probably shot very light colors, easy to visualize or whatever. And then like the doom and gloom shows, the dramas, all that kind of stuff is very
like dark and heavy and shadowy, a lot of contrasts.
Everything looks wet all the time.
I mean, even in the Silo, it's like you would never see the sun.
No.
Like everything is just indoor colors, and it's like the dark grays and browns that, I mean, even you think of psychologically like how you're supposed to do your home, or how you can do your home, or with like what colors have been shown to be more relaxing to us. It's like the tans and the neutrals and the blues. I don't know if that's because it's connected to more nature colors, but it's like the warmer tones like reds and purples. I think purple is a relaxing color, or it like triggers the same creative thing in your brain purple does. But like the cooler tones versus the warmer tones, they like translate in your brain differently. So if there is a show that has more of the, you see it outside, or they're more neutral colors, it might just signal even into your brain like this is relaxing.
Isn't it the Swedish that have like a philosophy around lighting your home?
I don't know if it's somewhere over there. I don't know if it's specifically,
which seems so
Swiss,
funny.
But yeah, we're like, there is a whole concept of not architecture, but interior design, where you will like hire a lighting specialist to where they will come in and it's like, this is the vibe that you want of your home. This is how we're going to light it. Like each room has a different essence and a vibe, and then they will light it according to that. Like that you should be able to walk through your home and either there's like a symmetry throughout your house. Symmetry is probably not the right word for that. There's a, what word am I thinking of?
I don't know. Symmetry?
No.
Symmetry?
No. Well, it's like in shows where they have this scene and they have this scene and they can't.
I got it.
You say this word a lot, actually.
I do.
What is it?
It's one of my favorite words.
What is it?
Continuity.
Yes.
It's a
yes.
great word.
There is, but I don't even know if that's really a good way to use it. I'm thinking about it. Let's just
so excited.
Let's just take it very kindergarten level, the way I'm going to describe it. There's a flow to your house. You can either have a flow where everything is connected and it's like you don't know what room is connected, that you just keep the vibes or the vibes. But then sometimes they will go, we want the kitchen to be this whole ambiance. That's the lighting. You want to have your living room and your bedroom to be a different calming. That's the lighting. You go for it.
Yeah. Which is so funny because like maybe other people do focus on that or pay attention to it or think about it. I have never thought once about a flow or continuity of lighting within the house and like paid attention to that. It's always just been like, do I like that color of light, or do I like where it's placed? Does it give off enough light over here? That sort of thing. Like the more just like practical logistical of it. I've never thought that there would be like an interior designing of for lighting like people do with decorations and colors of walls and furniture and all that kind of stuff.
I think it's a very easy example of if you go into like two restaurants and one is a more expensive restaurant, you're going to see a difference in lighting.
Oh, sure.
Like if you go into a steak place, like steak or like an Italian place, the lighting is very like dim and it's like set kind of more like at eye level. It's like there's this coziness, but almost like a sexiness to it, to where you go into Hacienda.
Whoa.
It's like they just, whatever house lights are on, that's what's on.
Those are fighting words.
Like you're just there for the food. You're not trying to create a vibe there.
Well,
to where if I was going to decorate a house and like start from scratch, I would so much more focus on that than practicality.
Oh,
because
yeah.
That's the only, I love that with places. Like
Yeah,
I will like a place based off of the vibe and the ambiance more than I would if the food was good or the drinks were good.
That's where we're opposite. You are much more of the how it looks, how it feels, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what's practical? I mean, look at what you're wearing versus what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't shower this morning. I'll just throw a hat on.
Right.
And you're like, this is a presentation.
Well, my hair still looks like shit, so let's not just go to the hair thing, but
But yeah, I mean, I'm just like, what? My whole wardrobe is shorts, t-shirts, sweatshirts.
Yeah.
And sweatpants. I'm in a constant sweatsuit all the time.
To where I dress for the vibe.
Yeah, no, not me.
I'm like, we're going to this bar, so that means this kind of thing. We're going to, like, I think if we're going to go to down the street to Foxborough's, which is a Patriots themed bar, I'm going to wear something completely different than if we're going to this brewery that is sitting outside. And it has nothing to do with that's inside, outside, whether I'm going to be cold or not. It's just like, what is the vibe of the place? I have to match the vibe of the place.
I've never thought that one time, probably.
Yeah.
The only time I have thought about that is when it's absolutely forced upon me.
And
like,
you complain.
Yeah.
So badly.
Yeah. I get very frustrated. I'm not a dress code kind of guy. Doesn't make any sense to me.
So you asked me a very interesting question yesterday. You said, when I pick out my wedding dress, would I want you to be there? Since you never think about anything, so I know you've never thought about this before. If you just think right now, what do you think I'd be wearing? What does the dress look like?
The only reason I have an idea is and it's because of the reason that I asked you that, is there was like some commercial that had a wedding thing.
Oh.
So the only dress I can think of is
who was in the commercial?
Yeah. And it was like one where the like shoulders were to the side.
Oh.
And it wasn't up top. So it was like
Interesting.
shoulder and the arms. Or it was whatever it is, sleeve on the arms.
Got it.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't sit around thinking what you're going to be wearing in a wedding dress.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you just had to think of right now, what would it be? Because I know you've never thought about it. Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? But that makes sense. It's the commercial.
Yeah, that's what I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
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 What am I wearing? Shorts and a t-shirt?
What you're wearing right now. Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
With your crazy thick socks with your tiny tennis shoes.
Yeah. Whatever I just happen to be wearing that day.
No, I think I would.
Really cool.
I think it'd be better if you had. It would just look so stupid. Like, you at least have to do it for pictures.
I'm not gonna wear shorts and a t-shirt.
Well, I'm saying
I'm not that big of a.
I'm fine if it was like, we do pictures, we do the pictures. That's literally it. Like, I don't even care if we didn't have pictures during a ceremony, I wouldn't even care with that. Like, as long as we get some pictures where we look like we are there together and not you were the guy that set up the venue, then I'm fine.
I just look like one of the guys working it, like the Office
you just look like the guy
episode.
that like came and mowed the lawn.
The Office
before.
episode. I just look like a caterer.
Yes.
You guys for sure.
Yeah. Like, I really don't care. I don't care if as soon as we take pictures, you change into a cutoff. I could care less.
I look like I just got done mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'm here.
I mean, we will not take pictures together the rest of the evening, but that's fine. As long as we have a couple pictures, wear whatever you want.
I don't really mind wearing stuff like that. I mean, every once in a while. It's more so I just don't like clothes shopping. So if I have to go get stuff, that's where I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Now you
I've
have a
already
couple
got
suits
stuff
that you needed to get. So it's like, you can just pick one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is so funny how not sentimental we are about that. You're like, just whatever one I had to get off of Amazon, that's what I will wear for my wedding.
Yeah.
Not like it needs to be special for this.
No. Well, I mean, especially with something like that. Again, I'm just too practical. Like,
right.
I already have the stuff, and if it was something that you wanted very specific color-wise, then okay, there would have to be that, but it doesn't sound like you do, so.
Now that you have a black one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's like, yeah, I don't care if it's wedding day or not. That's why I don't get with the dress thing. You're never going to wear it again. That whole thing, I just don't understand.
I know. If I was able to wear that fancy of dress to other things, that'd be cool. I just want to wear that crazy of a dress. Like, I loved how many times I went to prom just because, like, when else do you get to do this?
Yeah.
It's like dress up for adults.
Yeah. I get how people could like that. That's just never been my thing. I just don't.
And yours isn't that exciting. It's like, you could wear suits to a lot of things.
Well, I mean, there's
can you wear a gown?
Well, yeah. There's guys that really get into that stuff.
Sure.
Like, that's all they
But it's not like,
care about.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm looking it just seems so basic to me. It's like a suit is a suit. I guess if you have a tux, but like still, it's the same. Which I guess you could say a dress is a dress.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Dress is definitely just a dress.
I think for most guys, they're not like doing wild suit looks. Like it's just a suit. It's not like there are very different versions of a wedding dress. They look different. Like they're all white dresses, but
well, there's probably a whole rabbit hole you can go down for, suits for guys for weddings.
Oh yeah.
Do you do the blazer? How do you tie? Like even that was a conversation at my brother's. Like, how are you tying your tie? What version?
Oh.
And it's like,
the only way I know how.
And
the one way I kind of know.
And I don't know how. So whatever way you want to.
Yeah. Surprise me.
Yeah.
Just stand in front of a guy. Surprise me.
It's like watches for guys.
Sure. Yeah.
If I'm wearing this watch, I have to wear this stuff with it. Otherwise it doesn't, whatever. And this style of watch is like more proper. And this style of watch is more like on the go, whatever. And
I don't get how, I know it's very popular nowadays, but how the bride will change into a secondary outfit. Yeah. I'm like, don't you just want to wear that for as long as you possibly can, that dress? It's like, I would want to wear it the whole night till I possibly need to take it off. Like, I don't want to have to change into something less cool.
Oh, but I think they change into something that's more comfortable. That's the point.
For what?
Because it's more comfortable.
Yeah. And I'm like, this dress is it. This is the reason I'm doing this. I want to stay in it.
Yeah,
it's not about comfort. It's about looks.
Yeah, and that's where I think there's the disconnect between you and other people.
Sure.
You're fine with like torturing yourself in something that's uncomfortable.
Yes.
For the looks of it.
Yes.
Maybe not most, but what the trend it seems to be is people are like, I would rather be comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do it. I understand. I'm not like, I don't get it. I get the comfort thing. And for some people, they get like a secondary dress. It's just like maybe like shorter.
Yeah.
But it's like still very, you can't just wear it to any other thing. Like it wouldn't be like wear any, yeah.
That I wouldn't get. You get 2 dresses now that you can't ever wear again?
Yeah, you just get more of
that would seem silly. Yeah.
But the people that have done it, I've like talking to them, they're like, it was the best decision.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
so comfortable.
I don't get it, but I'm happy for you.
Luckily guys stuff isn't that uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like maybe I'll change I'll change shoes.
Shoes, yes.
I'm not gonna wear heels. Like if you can't see my feet, I don't even know, like, why would you put heels on?
Yeah, the shoes.
Maybe because it's like, it's just the way that you carry yourself. I could see that. But like, I could be walking down the aisle in slippers. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. But yeah, guys can't get away with that.
You just like hear the flops. Or flip flops.
You're just hearing it down the aisle.
And even from down the aisle, like, pick up your feet.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be so funny.
You're critiquing my walking.
It's this is like slow walking music. You're just still trying to walk slow, but just like. Oh, that would be awesome. I want to go back to these shows though.
So okay, Shrinking is my number 1. But
with Silo,
like, where does it rank of the 3?
Do you like it at all?
Yeah, I do. I really don't usually like those shows because they freak me out. Yeah. It just seems too real to me. It's too like, this is the future. Yeah. So like I didn't like, was it Fallout? Is that the other show that we watched? Kind of like that. I'm like, okay, so a bomb hits your city and now you're just in these bunkers. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, this is our future. And this is why there's a show, because they're starting to condition our minds to think that way. I mean, it's not so wild and random that now there is a new kids movie coming out about robots. It's like, no, we're conditioning our kids to be okay with robots.
I think I don't know if it's quite that sinister. I think we just are that good at seeing what the future could be. So then people just run because like even the Fallout one, it was something about like a nuclear explosion. Like if that happened, it would wipe everything out. You're not now having a living unbelievable. Been podcasting for a year. Huh?
Where should I go?
Well, it's like
just don't drink. Just don't drink that way. Is what you're gonna tell me.
Learn how to drink water.
I loved when you told me this.
Because I was working with you.
It was the most. It was like. It was so. You're my parent, not a partner, but it was like I didn't have any pushback at all. It was like, okay, we're taking care of each other. When we were in the shuttle from the airport, and I'm drinking my water, and you said,
I'm just looking out for you.
And you said, you need to, you need to have an at-home way of drinking water and an in public way of drinking water. Like I'm a kid, like screaming, and you're like, this is inside volume. It's like, we're out in public. You can't you can't be who you are. You cannot drink water in public the way that you do at home in the privacy of no one else knowing. But I agree. And I've actually been thinking about that. When I'm now in public and I'm drinking, I'm like, okay, slow it down. Well, you can't. It's alarming. No one else has been like.
I can deal with it barely. So for other people that don't care about you and you're drinking water and it's like, it just like, it seems like you're trying to make as much noise as you possibly can. It's like, why are we doing that?
I'm surprised that I haven't had someone be like, geez.
Because like, you're pretty and people don't want to deal with that.
But we're around so many people that like, I am close enough to, like, I'll wear something. And Alex will be like, what is that? Or like, I'll do something. She'll be like I'm around a bunch of people like that.
Maybe that's something that just is too, I don't know. It's you doing something. It's not like something you chose. Maybe people are like, I don't know. Yeah, she just drinks water. Weird. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I feel like I've been around people that
sneeze. I'm like, how is that your sneeze? But I don't know if that's something they can control, I guess. But for you, it's like you can drink water a different way.
Sure. I agree. I've been trying to work on that in public. At home, I let it fly.
Yeah, I don't care.
But really, I shouldn't even be doing that.
But when you're
at home, there's no way that's good for my stomach.
Sucking in all of the air? No. Why am I bloated all the time? I don't know, because you're drinking air 24/7.
You know how I talk about like the little joys in life that people don't, normal people do not take time.
I'm taking one of those away from you.
But think of football practice. When you are pushing it to, like, you're so thirsty, you're maybe outside, you're sweating, and then you get to the bottle of water and you are like so thirsty, and you know, like, I can just inhale this. That feeling of actually starting to get water in your system. Wow.
Yeah, I'm too weird in the head though. Like, I wouldn't chug water at practice or anything either, because then you got to worry about cramps and that sort of thing. Which, did you hear me having that argument with the one student?
No.
She kept going and getting water. And I was like, no, you're not getting water. What are you doing? She's like, I have a cramp. I'm like, probably because you keep drinking so much water. Like, it's not. She's like, no, I need water for my cramp. It's like, you don't even know what's going on, lady.
Right.
I'm like, no, that's not the situation. We'll tell you when to get water.
I don't think they should have water in the room. I think that needs to be switched.
But the problem is, if it's out of the room, they then go hang out there and think that they just get 25 minutes
for the older kids, potentially. For the older ones where they're like maybe going out. But if they're just right outside, it's like all the baby classes, no one gets to bring their water inside.
Yeah.
It's like most of the time I don't even let them get a drink. You're here for an hour. You're fine. I typically will with the older ones because they're
actually doing something
more.
Yeah. The little kids.
Why do you need it in the room?
I don't know. I actually prefer it in the room because I have a problem with these kids. They just are gone for 5 minutes. That's why I'm like, be back in 2 minutes. Otherwise, 10 push-ups. Because these kids will just go leave and then I'll come out there and they're on their phone talking to each other and whatever. It's like, I said, go get a drink of water. I didn't say you had a 5-minute coffee clutch break.
Right. I'm trying to like think back into when I was a kid or like that. Like when we were at an age where we had phones and doing like, we had all the stuff in the room, I think, but.
Oh my God. If somebody was on their phone at football practice or basketball practice, there's no way we would get away with that. I mean, It was like, go get a quick drink of water and come back. And it was, you go grabbed a drink of water and then you came back out on the court or you came back out on the field and you were standing there waiting, ready to go.
Right.
To where these kids just... There's
not like breaks. It's just like, go quickly grab a sip of water.
Yes.
But like people are watching you. Like it's how quickly can you get back out?
To where these kids like, okay, go grab a quick drink of water and come back. They like go... I mean, half of them don't even go get a drink of water. They just go sit and grab their phone and sit there until I tell them to come back. And it's like, I shouldn't have to tell you to come back. You should be grabbing a drink of water, coming back and standing there ready to go.
Yeah. I reward most of the kids. Like for the babies, I will, whoever is back first gets to do the thing. Like gets to
demonstrate or whatever,
hand out the next activity, or they get to pick their color. Like I don't let anybody pick their color of whatever thing that we're getting out, but whoever is back, the first 3, they get first dibs.
Yeah, it doesn't really work with 12 and 13-year-olds.
No, they don't.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
And they'll make it a point to show you they don't care.
Yeah, and they don't want to. They want to be the last one, so they don't have to do that.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Haven't figured that age.
Kids change.
Oh. Yeah.
It is funny though, like I think everybody's so worried about being the mean parent or the strict parent or the mean teacher, strict teacher, whatever. But I feel like those kids like you so much more because you actually have a structure and a schedule and expectations and a discipline. Like they can trust you because you're on your stuff.
Oh yeah. And you're holding them to a standard.
Yeah.
Versus just like, well, it's fine if you're coming in last because I don't care about you. Like there is a subliminal messaging with that where it's like, if I'm not holding you to anything, it's because I don't think you're worthy of being held to something.
Yeah. And over the 2 years, like they've changed so much with that of, I don't know, like they don't push the buttons or they don't
it's the same
do
way
the old stuff as much. I've had to give way a little bit too, just like expectations of my own of like, okay, yeah, you're not going to be the group that goes and gets a drink of water and comes back and is standing ready to go. It's like there's like 1 or 2 kids that do that, and the rest of them they're just not going to do that. They're not. It might be too little, too late, or I'd have to be so ridiculously strict, and that's just not gonna be the case. But
yeah, I think that's the same thing with little kids, but it's easy to see in younger kids, but it's the same even through adulthood. Like, I don't think that stops. I don't think it's a behavior or a safeguard that goes away. It's like, I don't know if I said it in one of the last episodes I did or if it's not out yet, but like you would think kids would want to be able to do whatever they want and just like to be able to control, like kind of like just free range. You get to make up the rules. It's like, that's when they feel the most unsafe. And you can see that for me, it's very obvious to see when, if there's a class where I'm like, I'm kind of winging it or I'm trying to figure it out. Or if like I have a new class where maybe I'm subbing and I don't know these kids as well. As soon as I'm not on my shit, that's when they start misbehaving because they're also pressing the boundaries and they're trying to figure out what can we get away with. And that's not a bad thing. Like that is an appropriate behavior for them to do. But then that's when they start like getting funky in behaviors and they start asking questions. Like you'll see that a lot. If kids are asking you almost like quizzing you on things.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing and why are we doing this? Or what does this mean? Or when we go here, what's going to happen? It's like, that's them giving you signs that they think you don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
So it's like, if your kids are asking you a bunch of questions, and I say this all the time, like, oh, if you're asking me why, like, what are we going to do? It's because you don't think I know.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a problem, because now you don't think that I have control over it. So one, you don't feel safe, because the only way that you can do your thing as a kid, which is just play and explore and have fun with this, if you think that you have to deal with the staples of what's going to happen, you now can't do that. And now you're going, well, you're the adult and you don't know what's going on, so I get to do whatever I want.
Yep.
I get to bend the rules because you don't know what's happening. You don't know what we're doing next.
Yeah.
That those little things where as a younger teacher, I used to be annoyed with it, because I was like, stop asking me questions. Like, I know what I'm doing. It's like, well, they don't think that you do.
Right.
So if they're starting to ask you questions about stuff, you're not being clear enough with what the expectations are, what the schedule is going to be for the day, what is required of them. Like, they think you're just winging it. So they're like, well, that means that there's wiggle room for me to control whatever it is. That's
something that, with you learning about that and telling me about it too, like I've done, of when kids are like, what are we going to do next? I used to just be like, don't worry about it. But they want that safety and security of what's going on. And I think it helps them. I think it helps them in a lot of ways. Like, it also just helps them feel like they're in on the ground floor of what's going on.
Yes.
And they're not just like an outsider having to do what you're telling them, sort of thing. So with all those questions and stuff, I think you're totally right. They just want to know what's going on. And I've started to do that more. And I think it helps. I think it makes everybody feel a little bit more comfortable, and I don't know, just like they can get into it. It also just helps to have a structure and a schedule. There was one day where we didn't do the ladder drills, and I was so surprised because all of them were like, what? We're not doing the ladders? And I'm like, you would think that you guys would be so sick of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. But like, the one day I decided not to do the ladders, you're like, what? Why are we not doing them?
Yeah.
So it's so funny how they've learned the schedule and they've learned the routine of what we do. And if we were to like completely change it up or get rid of something, they would actually be upset about it. To where I think we always kind of think like, oh, you got to keep them on their toes, otherwise they're going to get bored. It's like, no, they actually really want the structure and the schedule. And
that's an routine. Adult brainwashing themselves. Like, or that's like as adults, when we, like, I don't know. I don't think we take the depth of like how little kids know what's going on. It's like, could you imagine like thinking of going back home? Like, we get on a plane, we go and meet a bunch of people, we hang out with different family members, we are maybe going back for a specific event. It's like, could you imagine being a kid and not knowing any of that? You're just going to a new place you've never gone to. You're getting on a plane, which, what's a plane? You're going, like, if we just like, well, as an adult, you're just going to get on a plane. You're going to go to somewhere that you don't really know what it is and why that's different from your home. And then you're going to go over to someone's house and everyone's going to just magically be there, but you don't know what it's for. It's like, that's what kids are doing every single day. Yeah. How are they not like, how am I supposed to emotionally adapt to all this?
Well, then you wonder why people have, OCD and stuff. It's like they've been not told what's going on all the time. Now they grow up and they have to have claws on, latch control over everything because they had none as a kid. Yeah. So they weren't told what the hell was going on.
The plane thing, I was thinking about that after one of the last events, because like some people are now like with kids coming and whatever. And I'm like, I wonder like how much they understand of this, of just like where they are and why we're here and why does this look different than my house or whatever. It's like, man, that could be so cool for kids, but it also be so scary if you're not like communicating to them. And then you see it in class all the time too, where it's like, if it's a little bit, like you said, if we don't do something, or if it's a little bit different, it takes them a second to emotionally like figure out how they even feel about it, how they want to show their emotions about it.
Yeah.
And then if there's not time to express that, see you later.
Yeah.
Chalk that whole thing up to could be a potential meltdown.
Yep.
But then you also can't like blame them. Okay, back to the show.
Somehow we keep running away from it. I just want to know what you are feeling about. I want to talk about the shows.
I like the Silo stuff. I'm not obsessed with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I am getting, we talked about this too. I'm getting so sick and tired of, why are we going back in time? Why are we doing one episode a week?
Oh, yeah.
That shit is pissing me off so much.
I know.
I want to be able to watch 7 episodes if I want to watch 7 episodes.
Yes.
This one episode a week bullshit needs to stop. It's,
I don't understand.
Why are we going back to that?
I don't understand it's like what I said. There has to be some monetary benefit to doing that. Like, I don't know if they have the data to show that people do tend to still watch shows like that, or if they last longer in the series, if that's the case. Like, maybe they have the data to show that that's the better way to roll out shows. But in what I would think would be common sense of just how people do life, I would think that you would gather more people to watch it and binge it if it's all out to them, versus how many people are like, oh, I'm not going to wait till next Wednesday, so I'm just like not going to watch the show. Or they'll forget about it. Yeah. It's like you're banking on people like waiting for the next Wednesday to come around.
We have 4 shows we're watching all at the same time because only one episode a week is coming out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I almost forgot about Tulsa King.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, that might have another episode.
Yeah.
So it's like you just forget. Because, well, I can only watch one episode, so now I got to watch something else. And now you're having to find something else. And then you start watching that, but there's only 1 episode or 2 episodes. And then you have to find something else. I don't get it either. Like, I don't think it would, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, I would think the data from watching all the way through would be better if they put it all out at once versus 1 episode at a time. I don't understand how they would make more. Like, you would think that they would just have a deal with whatever streaming service and they're going to make whatever money off of that. But maybe they've gone back to
maybe people keep their services for longer because they can't binge it. Like, maybe some people buy it just for that show to come out and then they'll cancel it.
Yeah.
But still, like, what are you holding people to for? I mean, still, that series is going to take a couple months to get through it. It's like, it's not like it lasts you a year.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, like, I don't know, a lot of people have multiple streaming services that they just have and they keep. I don't know. I wouldn't think there's a lot of people that are just like buying to watch a season and then they cancel it. I don't know though.
You know, one thing it's interesting to me, my response to it with the sister show. And this is
Bad Sisters on Apple TV.
Going too deep into a conversation where you're trying to keep it very light and let's just talk about TV. But it's hard for me to not be like, that's interesting. You're responding to that in that way. I kind of can understand a sliver of what people are talking about when they're like, I'm not represented in TV or movies or culture. Like, when they don't see people that look like them. I'm having a hard time with the show because they have different references. Like, where is it shot?
I think in Ireland.
Like, their accent, their references are different. The way that they talk, what means what is a little bit different. Like, locations of places are labeled different things.
The 40-foot?
I'm struggling to connect to it because I'm like, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah, I don't feel it at all. It's not like holding me back, I guess.
Yeah,
it's not doing anything for me or like to me negatively.
I'm just noticing I'm not like invested into it as much.
You were invested into Ted Lasso, and that's how that was. That was all British.
But the main guy wasn't.
No, but
and
everybody
he's like going into a new country like, this is crazy and different. So I'm like, oh yeah, I would understand that.
So you just need to be easily tricked.
If there were just one American in the show, maybe I'd be honest.
If there was one American going like, this is crazy. I'm in Ireland.
You call it a pub.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, see.
Yeah.
Now I'm that character in the show.
Yeah. It's
just interesting. Something I noticed, I was like, okay. It's hard for me to connect when I'm trying to like figure it out.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's a silly thing to think about. You know what show I cannot wait for this summer? You know what's interesting?
Oh, the finger.
What I was going to say is what I'm excited for is the Summer I Turned Pretty, the 3rd season coming out. So pumped about that. But I am noticing now that I am reading more books, I'm like, and reading those books and watching the show, I'm like, oh, I wish my book would be a show.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the ones that I've read, I'm like, oh, this would be good to like watch too. Like I wish I could experience the story again, but through a show.
Yeah.
Like I always want more to the book.
Yeah. I don't think I've fully read a fiction book.
And the Summer I Turned Pretty one, the 3rd book. All the other ones, I watched it first and then read it. That's not true. I read the first book, but like years and years ago. But then I watched the show and then read the books. Toward the 3rd one, I read the book first and now I'm going to be watching it. And I kind of hope it doesn't go like how it is in the book.
Oh, wow.
The book was... it's just...
I would think it would because the writer has been involved in the TV show, I think, every season.
The writer is like she
produced it or whatever.
She's the writer and producer of the show.
Yeah.
And she's done.
So I would think it would go the same way.
Yeah. Man.
Crazy.
It's so obvious reading all the similar types of books. And this is going to be very mean, what I'm about to say. So brace yourself. It's another one of those moments where...
Everybody sit down.
I'm going to be mean. Disclaimer. My guess, based off of when I've looked up these authors or they have pictures on the back or just like their description of the person when you look into them and the theme of these books, it's very much they're female writers that I don't know if what they're writing about, if they've experienced it. And so they're just writing like this is their fairy tale ideals.
So obvious.
Like the way that they are describing the boys in the book or like their interactions with them. It's like, it is very rom-com, like the silly stories that you see in movies, but it's such a different flair. Like besides the book I'm reading right now, every female lead in the book is like into books. It's like she's a nerdy girl that the hot guy likes. Like the one before that, she was literally a librarian. The one before that, she was literally an author.
Yeah.
Like they're all like into the theme of like, oh, the person in the story would like this book. It's like, no shit, because the author is writing the story like she is the lead in the story. And this guy would treat her this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which maybe is like, oh, so obvious, but...
I wonder, though, if it's I don't know, if it's the hot girl, does anybody really want to read the story?
No, probably not.
So
She'd be a terrible writer.
I think there's some of that too, where it's like, you don't want to watch a movie where somebody rules the entire kingdom and then just like does that and is successful.
Oh,
like,
got it.
You want the person who isn't... You want the Rocky story. Everybody wants the Rocky story. The guy who's not supposed to get the shot gets the shot, and then he makes something of himself, blah, blah, blah. It's the same with the girl. The girl who's not supposed to have any boys fighting over her, all of a sudden has two boys fighting over her, And she's just this author with glasses and takes her glasses off. And now, oh my gosh, she's actually super pretty and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it wouldn't be a story if it was just.
Oh, obviously the hot girl was with the hot guy.
Yeah. It's like, that's not interesting.
Yeah. That's
so
kind of what's happening in the book now. Like, the lead is not a underdog. The only way that she's an underdog is like she had a little bit of a broken childhood and she's pregnant.
That's it.
Like the lead guy is not the dad. So that's also, it's such an interesting concept. Like the lead guy is falling for her. The whole like setup is just funky, but like that he's falling for her, but she's pregnant. Like, and would that happen in real life?
Oh, I'm sure it has.
Like if I was pregnant
Not
and we broke up,
commonly.
would I consider, I don't think I would consider dating. Like who would, I'm sure people like wouldn't care, but it's like having kids is one thing, that's different. But like pregnant? Like you're basically signing up for like, I'm going to be a part of this baby's life from the jump. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's something you can just like, when you have older kids, I think it's different to weave in and out of.
I would be very skeptical of that guy that wants to be a part of that.
Well, and like in the book, it's like he barely even talks about it. Of course, the guy in the book is an OBGYN. So he's like, that's his job.
Oh my. That's the other annoying thing with books. It's like, really? Every scenario just happens to be perfect?
Oh, right. I know.
No. It's fiction. It's fake. It's supposed to be. That's why it's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I'm like,
what are the chances?
No guy would ever be this nice. That's what I was thinking about when I was reading it yesterday. When he was doing all of these nice things for her and like taking care of her. I'm like, this would never happen, for one. So like, is that setting females up for failure? Just like movies. It's like, you're expecting this guy to be like this. They're not gonna be.
No.
Like reading through, I'm like, this is what you get 10 years into a relationship. That guy eventually will show up. It's like, maybe you're probably like that with me, but like starting 2 days ago, like that wasn't the beginning. You don't just like get that person right away, and vice versa.
Yeah. No, and it doesn't. You
have to earn that type of.
Well, then that
care.
Is that is the problem with the books and shows and stuff. Is now girls are going around going like, I need a guy like that. It's like, no, they don't exist.
No.
And why would they for you? You suck.
Maybe a couple decades in they will.
Yeah, you need to calm down a little bit for somebody to even be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's all fake. And it's the same on the guy side. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you want a woman to take care of you and like do things for you and build a home for you and build a family for you.
I don't even think it's that stuff. I don't think guys think about that at all.
I think it's like, who am I to say?
How am I going to conquer the world?
You think every guy thinks that?
No, I don't think every guy, but I think there's just like there's the common female story of it's so revolved around guys and taking care of them. The guy story is the Rocky thing. I was against all odds and I came through.
And what is the female supposed to do with that?
The females aren't even in the story.
Like, okay, but that's why
it's different.
What's the, so it's like, we're not even in your zeitgeist at all. Like we don't.
No. Have you ever watched 300?
No.
It's about the Spartan and Greek or something war, or the Romans. Females aren't in the movie. They don't matter. There's like a sex scene and that's it. Because that's a guy and his brain and what has been made. And it's also history. But it's like the movie is about, there's only 300 Spartan soldiers that are taking on a ginormous army and conquering that and winning.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what guys are. It's not a love story.
Sure.
Guys don't watch love stories.
I know that. But it's like, so that is the only value females bring.
Huh?
Like, we don't bring value.
No, it's not that. It's just the fantasy thing. every girl's dream is to have this book situation. 2 guys fighting over her. And what do I do? How do I figure it out?
Actually, I don't think that's been any of my book. That's Some Right Turn Pretty.
It's every book.
No, this one it's just a guy that's being nice. And that's the dream. It's just a guy that thinks about you sometimes and is nice. Apologizes.
The book should be 1 page long. I met this guy who was nice to me. We're married and it's all over. But instead it's 250 pages because this girl is dumb and can't figure it out. And it's the same on the guy's side. Hey, there's no war you're fighting.
Right.
There's no conquering anything.
Yes.
There's no fighting all the odds.
Right.
Just live your life, put one foot for the other.
Right.
Nobody's against you. I love it so much when it's always athletes. You know, and everybody said I couldn't make it here and wouldn't put it. Really? What singular person told you that? Right. You're just saying things to say things now.
No, you're freaky athletic. People probably thought you should be here. This is the level of success you probably should have gotten to.
Well, and it's like, even if people, there's no way there's that many athletes that had people telling them, you're never going to make it. Why does every single athlete say that over and over and over again? They all told me, they all doubted me and blah, blah. It's like, you're making that up in your head. And even Tom Brady has come out and said that. Like, I just made stories up to fuel the fire.
Right.
It's like, these things didn't even happen, but I bet they're saying that. I bet they're talking about me like that. Michael Jordan did the same thing. It's like, you're just lying to yourself to continue to motivate yourself.
Yeah. Wow, that's funky.
Yeah.
I get it, but that's
weird. That's what guys' brains do. Girls' brains do the same thing, just in different ways. You just make up scenarios and make up situations, and then you're like, what's wrong? Nothing. That's the whole, like, I had a dream about you. I was just thinking, if you ever did this, I'd be so pissed. It's like, well, I never did that. Never even thought of doing that. So you don't have to be pissed. Well, if you did, I'd be pissed. It's like, well, you're pissed right now.
I don't have any dreams like that about you now. My dreams now that you're in are like, you got bitten by an alligator.
Yeah.
Like, yep. It's so not you going against me. It's just like the dumbest stuff. It would be like alligator stuff, or it would be like us and our make-believe kids are going somewhere and like we're having this specific conversation and the conversation is stupid, or like we're disagreeing over what painting needs to be on what wall or what paint to do. It's like, and I'll have a whole dream about it.
That's cool.
Like, my life is about dreaming about paint colors.
Yep.
And then I wake up and I go, oh, that's just my life.
That's one of the best feelings, when you have a dream that you don't like and you wake up and you go, thank God that's not real.
Yeah.
I have that happen a lot.
I don't really. I think I spiral as I go to sleep, so I think about real situations. But then I don't know. It's never like terrible things.
I don't really have good dreams. Mine are always, they're either like, it so doesn't matter, or like it's so nothing, or there's problems happening.
Yeah. Mine are kind of random.
I don't have dreams where I wake up and I'm like, wow, that was such a good dream. I don't remember a time I've ever had that.
There's been a large amount of times where I have dreamed that I was choreographing something, and it'll be like a full thing. And I'm like, if I could just wake up and remember that. Like, I feel like I just didn't work while I was sleeping.
Yeah. You wonder if it like comes out in spurts, but you just don't remember or connect it back.
Yeah. Like, I wish I could just like wake up and like, okay, stand up and do it.
You know what I had a dream?
I was working while I was sleeping. Talk about productive.
I had a dream that Corey had Carly for Secret Santa. So I'm going to go with that. I think that's what is going to happen this year. It was like something like I was handing out the gifts and it said her name on it. So I brought it over, but it was like clearly something wooden that was like built. And I was like, well, we know who had Carly.
I hope that does happen. And then you'll be like, I had a dream. This is how it'll be. If that happens.
Okay.
What?
I'll do that. I'm okay speech.
No.
Is that where you're going?
You'll say that at Christmas. You'll say, I had a dream that you were her Secret Santa or whatever. And Carly will be like, oh, that's weird. And Carly will be like, on the podcast, you talked about it. It'll be like two completely.
Yes.
She'll be like, that was so crazy. Chaney had a dream about that.
Yep.
And Carly will be like, ew, why are you dreaming about me?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how it'll go. That's a good place to stop.
Okay.
All right.
Sayonara, Sammy.
See you later.